I should have waited until it was warmer to do this. Hello peeps, how's it going? It's officially spring and it's usually not this warm here, so I decided I'm gonna work on a backyard project. Should I be working outside since it still can randomly snow?
No!
Probably not, but I'm doing it anyway. There's a few things I want to get done back there, but the first thing is the fire pit patio. Some of the pavers are cracked and uneven, and all of them are pink, which doesn't really go with the flow of the paint job I did on the house. It's also diamond shaped rather than a rectangle, so I want to change the orientation to be parallel with the house so we get a little bit more room on there. I'm pretty sure they weren't originally installed with gravel and sand to keep them level, so I'm gonna do that as well. I'm trying to keep this as budget friendly as possible, so I'm probably just gonna stain some standard 12x12 pavers to make it feel custom, but also not spend a ton. And yeah, I already removed the pavers and stored them behind the garage for a project I planned for later, so everything is ready to go. So enough of me blabbing, let's get to it.
Time to dig.
I started by measuring out the dimensions of what I wanted the patio to be, and then I put a stake in each corner with the rubber mallet. I attached string around each stake so I could see the perimeter, but this also helps with making sure that everything is level. Once that was all tied off, I could start digging out my perimeter line. I used a flat shovel for this to make sure that the line was as straight as possible. I had to dig into some of the existing grass, but it kind of worked out because then I could use that sod in any of the bare spots. From there I started digging up the grass, trying to preserve the roots. And then I was able to move it over to the spots that needed grass. Again, taking out another corner and filling in all those holes. After all that was done, I had to take the hole down to 4 inches, so I started cleaning up that line and making it a little deeper. And then it was just taking out the extra dirt to make it as level as possible. To make the dirt as compact and level as I could, I tamped it down. It's raining a ton right now and the temperature has definitely dropped. I put a tarp down over the hole to hopefully avoid working in a mud pit once it stops. I knew the rain was coming, so I rinsed off my first batch of pavers to get all the dust and stuff off. And now that they're dry, I'm gonna stain and seal them. I had to buy 80 of these, so there's a lot to get through. I did 2 coats of concrete stain in the color coal to make them a bit darker gray and match the trim of the house. And I also did a coat of concrete sealant to protect them a little bit. I'll link everything in the description box that I'm using if you want to check it out. While those were drying, the sun came out, so I was able to put down the weed barrier. And then it was time for the edging. I cut these down to the dimensions of the hole, and then I secured them with some stakes. When that was all installed, I went to get my gravel. It was fun to watch them load it into the truck. I got some help from Ben to unload it. It took about 5 wheelbarrows worth, but then I just spread it out with the rake. Ben wanted to tamp it down, so that worked for me. We were dog sitting Wally at the time, so he helped too. And then it was a layer of sand. It was cold and my camera wasn't feeling it, so it's a little blurry here. But it's pretty much the same thing here. I loaded it in and leveled it out. I used a scrap piece of 1x6 piece of wood because I didn't want a rake to rip up all that compacted gravel. And then I used a 2x4 to make it super level. After that, it was time to start installing the pavers. I used 1x1 boards as spacers to keep my lines clean and even. You could do any size, that's just what I did to accommodate the pavers we had. I also checked every paver to make sure that they were level while still being a little graded away from the house. Once I had my first 2 rows in, I went to town. It was all about moving the pavers back and forth in the sand to get them exactly how I wanted. Stumping them down a little bit, making sure that they were level. The forecast said that snow was coming, so I was definitely rushing to get this done. I wanted to make sure I could cover it before the snow got in the sand and messed everything up. And that's it, last one. Now I can put a tarp over it in case it really snows. It definitely snowed. The birds are chirping, so they obviously don't care. Good thing I put the tarp down again because it is legit buried. I'm kind of at a standstill until all this melts, so this video is going to be coming out later than I wanted. Luckily the snow melted pretty quick, so I was able to get back to work. I got the last layer of pea gravel and unloaded it from the truck. From there it was just filling the gaps. Then I took a push broom and leveled it all out. I continued around the patio doing the same thing, and then again with the broom. I had this last little section to do, and then getting that gravel level in the lines. This was pretty satisfying. Once everything was in place, I sprayed off all the dust, and then when that was dry, I could put on my mulch glue. I wanted to avoid having any loose pebbles, so this was definitely a necessary step. I applied 2 coats on just the pea gravel, not the pavers. And once that cured, I was able to put out the patio stuff. It has been a journey, but this patio is done. Let's take a look. That was intense. I've never done anything with pavers before, and I knew it was going to be hard work, but it was some serious physical labor. Battling the weather didn't make this the easiest project either, but I think it was worth it. I do think it's going to look even better in a couple months once the grass is fully green and it fills in around the perimeter a little bit. It's just going to soften it up and look like it's always been there. My plan is to put in a new walkway and patio behind the garage next, so I'm definitely going to take what I learned from this one and put it into that. I think this is a doable project if you want to take on something similar, but I would suggest waiting till the weather's warm. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments. Like this video if you want to show me some love. And feel free to subscribe if you want to keep up with all the projects I'm working on. Alright, my mouth is getting all dry from talking so much, so I appreciate you taking the time to watch, and I'll see you soon. Bye. Of course, right when I start filming, the birds are like...